Last year, I released a video talking about how Tarleton State was a rising FCS powerhouse. In their first year eligible for the FCS playoffs, they would not only make it, but would beat Drake 43-29 before falling to South Dakota 42-31 in the second round. Heading into this season, there were high expectations for the Texans as they entered the season ranked in the top 10 in the preseason polls. They would not just start off the season simply with a win, but in their second matchup of the season, they would start the season off with a bang, upsetting Army 27-24 in double overtime, shocking not just the Black Knights, but shocking the college football world, pulling off the first FCS over FBS upset of the season. This is the story of Tarleton State, and why they should now be considered FCS national title contenders. But before we get into this, if you enjoy college football content like this, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, let me know who you want me to talk about in future videos in the comment section below. Tarleton football traces back to as early as 1904 when the school was known as John Tarleton College. It became a junior college in 1906 and affiliated with the Texas A&M University system in 1917. They became Tarleton State College in 1949 and began four-year competition in 1961, became Tarleton State University in 1973. In the 8 years following World War I, the program would go 52, 16, and 6 under W.J. Wisdom. They would go 8-0-1 in 1925, outscoring opponents 276-25. In 1935, they outscored opponents 235-6. 1950 would be viewed as the school's best team, with 7 players being a member of the school's Hall of Fame. During their transition from 2-year to 4-year status, the football team would go through 7 straight losing seasons and change their name from the Plowboys to the Texans. From 1968 to 1975, they would be members of the Lone Star Conference, going 12-68 over 8 years. In 1976, the university left the LSC and helped form the non-scholarship Texas Intercollegiate Athletic Association. Over the next 15 years, Tarleton would win 6 TIAA titles, with back-to-back crowns in 1977 and 1978, 1986 and 1987, and 1989 and 1990. During a 5-year span from 1986 to 1990, Tarleton went 45-11-1, won the Sunflower Bowl in 1986, and advanced to the NAIA quarterfinals in 1987, 1989, and 1990. They would finish the 1990 season going undefeated and untied during the regular season for the first time in school history, finishing 10-0 but lost in the quarterfinals of the playoffs. Due to dominating the TIAA, Tarleton State was asked to leave the conference following the 1990 season. They would play as an independent until 1994 before joining the NCAA Division II level, rejoining the Lone Star Conference. Sam McElroy would go 40-15 at Tarleton from 2005 to 2009, winning a share of the Lone Star Conference. Kerry Fowler would take over for McElroy and led them to a share of the conference title in 2013, but would resign following a 30-32 record at the end of 2015. Todd Whitten would return for his third stint at Tarleton State following the resignation of Kerry Fowler. Whitten led Tarleton State to their first ever appearance in the Division II playoffs and led them to a share of the Lone Star Conference Championship in 2001, their first conference championship since 1990. Whitten would rebuild the Texans from a 3-7 team during Kerry's last season in 2015 to a 12-1 team in 2018, where they won their first outright conference title since 1990, made it back to the Division II playoffs for the first time since 2009, and would make it back to the quarterfinals for the first time since 2001, where they would lose to Minnesota State 13-10. 2019 would see Tarleton State win their second straight Lone Star Conference title and finish the year 11-1, losing in the first round of the Division II playoffs. On November 12, 2019, it was announced that Tarleton State would be accepting an invite to join the WAC Conference and move up to the Division I level, beginning the process in 2020. Vice President of Intercollegiate Athletic, Lon Reisman, spoke on the move, saying, "To see Tarleton move from the NAIA school to a Division I university in 30 years is a testament to the Texas A&M University system, our student body, administration, alumni, and fans. This is a historic time for Tarleton State University and the beginning of great things ahead. We are not a small college anymore. We are a major university." During the 2020 season, Tarleton State football would play as an independent, playing a mixed schedule going 5-3, beating FBS New Mexico State 43-17, and pushing McNeese State to the brink, losing to them 40-37 in double overtime. During the 2021 season, the WAC would revive football under its conference banner and created a schedule alliance with the A-Sun. During the 2021 season, they would go 6-5 and repeated with another 6-5 record in 2022. During the 2022 season, there was a lot of excitement surrounding the program as they continued to perform at a competitive level throughout the transition. Wynn spoke on the process, saying, "The reclassification process is hard, very difficult. We knew that going in. So I've been extremely proud of our players and coaches and the way we have handled the whole situation." According to Dave Campbell's Texas Football's Corey Hogue, Tarleton had to adjust to the growing pains by increasing their staff and convincing players to come to play for the Texans, even though they wouldn't be playing for anything the first 3 years due to the NCAA transition rules. Wynn went on to say, "We lost a lot of recruiting battles back in those days. It was a hard sell, but we have to move through this process. It's getting easier and easier. This next class will probably be our best class, but they'll be freshmen next year." Tarleton State was way ahead of schedule when comparing to Abilene Christian and UIW, who were the previous 2 Texas schools to transition from Division II to the FCS level. After 3 years, ACU was 15-19 while UIW was 14-19. Tarleton State, on the other hand, was 17-13 through their first 3 years. Year 3 and 4 are usually the toughest years, as this is when you start to play a full, complete FCS schedule, with Witten going on to say, "That's why in year 3 and 4 are your toughest years while the young talent develops. It's almost like it's starting a new program. You have some Division II players that will carry over, and some will play quite well. But you have to have a whole different type of student athlete as you transition into the Division I level. It's just a process." What helped the Texans transition was the buy-in by the administration, who committed to converting Tarleton Memorial Stadium into one of the FCS's best venues that would meet FBS requirements, renovating the stadium to 26,000 seats. Wynn spoke on this saying, "We've got great fans. I think we'll fill that stadium. We've got to keep improving. We've got to keep winning. Before too long, we've got to get in there and battle for the conference championship, which I believe we will do. As far as the FCS fans and the support, I think we've got some of the best in the state of Texas." In their 4th year of transitioning, the Texans would just keep winning, beating McNeese and North Alabama by a combined score of 104-65, or being blown out by Texas Tech. They'd then win back-to-back games before losing 27-26 to Southern Utah and 41-35 in double overtime to Eastern Kentucky. They would end the season on a 4-game win streak, blowing Morehead State and Stephen F. Austin out while upsetting number 18 Central Arkansas 25-23 and Abilene Christian 31-30 to finish the year 8-3 and finish second in the United Athletic Conference. Leading into the 2024 season, Tarleton State was finally eligible to compete for the FCS playoffs after completing the 4-year transition process. There was a lot of excitement around the team as they came into the season ranked number 18 in the preseason polls. They returned all-conference running back Kavion Britton and wide receiver Darius Cooper, as well as 3 offensive linemen. They returned a same-look offense from the team that averaged 33.3 points per game, which was just outside the top 10 in the FCS last year. They returned their starting quarterback, 2 running backs that rushed for over 1,000 yards in a season, their top 3 wide receivers, and 5 starting offensive linemen. On defense, they returned 5 of their top 8 tacklers from 2023 as well. Tarleton State would start the 2024 season with a 26-23 win over McNeese during Week 0, or getting blown out by Baylor 45-3. They would proceed to go on a 6-game win streak, beating Houston Christian, North Alabama, Southeast Louisiana, Southern Utah, Utah Tech, and Austin Peay, before falling to Eastern Kentucky 17-13. They would close out the season with wins over West Georgia and Central Arkansas, would lose to number 14 Abilene Christian 35-31. They would close out the regular season with a 9-3 record and hope to go on a run in the playoffs, even though it was their first appearance in the FCS playoffs in school history. They would earn the 13th seed as an at-large team that would host Drake. They became the first team to make the FCS playoffs their first year of eligibility since South Dakota State in 2009. They set a new record for wins in a season in their D1 era, surpassing the 8 wins in 2023. The Texans would beat Drake 43-29, pulling away in the second half. They would then travel to Vermillion, South Dakota to take on 4-seed South Dakota. Tarleton State would be up 28-21 heading into the 4th quarter, would fall to the Coyotes 42-21. After the game, Witten said, "Hats off to South Dakota. They've got a great team. They had just maybe 3 or 4 penalties and no turnovers, so they played really clean. But I just couldn't be more proud of the way that our guys played. I thought we played really hard, battled until the end. We had a great season and an incredible senior class. So it kind of hurts right now, but I'm really proud of our team." Heading into the 2025 season, the Texans would need to replace production of wide receiver Darius Cooper, who would sign with the Philadelphia Eagles as an undrafted free agent. They did return all-conference quarterback Victor Gabalis, as well as Brendan Tolbert, Ty Rawls, and Cassius Kearns on the defense. They also brought in Alec Ambrosia from Central Connecticut State, where he was an all-conference player. Gabalis ended the season as a starter for the third straight year and has improved every year of his career. Cody Jackson was expected to step into the wide receiver 1 role after finishing last year with 29 receptions for 490 yards and 8 touchdowns. The best side of the ball, though, heading into the season this year was the defense, with the team returning 18 players who registered 200 snaps or more last year and 11 of their top 12 tacklers. The defensive line was stacked already. They also brought in Angelo Anderson from Tulane, who played in 40 games. The secondary also has a lot of talent and experience as well. It would start off the season once again in Week 0, taking on Portland State on the road on ESPN2, beating them 42-0. The Texans went into half up 14-0, but ran away with it in the second half. They forced 4 turnovers, with 3 interceptions, including an interception return for a touchdown and a fumble recovery. Trey Page had 160 rushing yards in the first half and finished the day rushing for 170 yards on 15 carries, averaging 11.3 yards per carry. They would then travel across the country to take on Army. They would find themselves down 24-10 midway through the third quarter, but clawed their way back into it, forcing overtime. Army would miss a game-winning field goal attempt as the clock expired, and missed a game-tying field goal in double overtime as the defending American champs fell to the Texans 30-27, shocking the college football world and putting everybody on notice. This week they will host their home opener against Mississippi Valley State and are the favorites to win the United Athletic Conference this season. They'll be ranked as the 3rd best team in the nation by the AFCA coaches poll, being tied with Montana State and only behind North Dakota State and South Dakota State this week. The Army win, which was their first win over an FBS opponent on the road, proved they are the real deal this year, and the program also had some FBS aspirations in the future. Last year, I explained, Tarleton State was linked to making the jump to the FBS by being in the discussion with the Mountain West Conference, according to Yahoo's Ross Dellinger, The Athletic's Sam Kahn, and Chris Vanini, which surprised a lot of people. The school has grown to over 18,000 students over the past few years and is in its golden age, according to Texas A&M System Chancellor John Sharp. According to Hogue, the Texans have the attendance, funding, and most of the infrastructure and facilities to make the move to the FBS. They averaged 18,697 fans in 2023, which was 5th best in the FCS and more than UTEP, North Texas, and Sam Houston. They would have ranked 4th in the Conference USA in attendance last season. They are also building a new basketball arena and renovating both the baseball and softball complex. They have added a beach volleyball program, a soccer program, and built a new facility for track and tennis. They are one of 3 teams since 2004 to post winning seasons during all 4 years of the reclassification process. If the call comes to join the FBS, they will be ready, and until then, they could become the next major power at the FCS level. What do you think? Is Tarleton State the real deal, and should they move up to the FBS? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out one of my other videos YouTube thinks you will love right here. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, remember to embrace the grind.